Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Inside Crypto, where from a hedge fund's perspective, I tell you how hedge funds try to outplay retail investors, push them out of the market, and how you can profit from it, or at least avoid getting forced out of your positions. And the past week has been marked by huge shakeups in the crypto market, and as is usually the case in such situations, and this is probably it's the first time since Inside Crypto started that these levels have been so thoroughly decimated, but to be fair, they really were absolutely crushed. Not only did they act like a magnet, but they were completely run over. Let's take a look here. There was support marked at these levels. The level was run over, and the only upside I can mention is that very often when these levels get broken through, they act as resistance on the way back. And here, by some stroke of luck, there was a moment to get out of those positions where if someone bought at 114, they were still able to get out. So what's next? And looking ahead, just look, huge liquidations, a very interesting situation around almost 111,000. This in turn should act like a magnet here, meaning up to 111,000. Whether it's blindly loading up on longs right now or waiting, it's more interesting for a drop to around 108,100. There are liquidations here as well. And that's how it looks. One or the other level should be tested in the coming week, meaning around 110,100, maybe 111. And in the other direction, around 108,100. These two levels should be wiped out, so to speak. And as for the higher level, it's also quite tempting. 114,000 would present a very interesting opportunity to consider taking a short position, with a pretty significant accumulation of liquidations clearly visible here. And by the way, that's also the level or around the level that I showed you here. So if the price reaches there, more liquidations could be triggered. And there will also be selling pressure from those who haven't managed to exit their positions yet. And as for Ethereum, it's a similar situation. The levels are completely off. This one support, the other support, absolutely. Well, one of them actually worked for a while, as you can see, but the other one was completely ignored and there wasn't even a return. So that's a total failure of this approach, right? And it was mainly Ethereum I had in mind when I said this is one of those weeks when this liquidation analysis doesn't work, and sometimes things like this just have to happen. It's not some magic grail that will always work. Looking ahead, here we have a beautiful situation, really. Such a huge amount of liquidations at 4,600, 4,700, and I'll tell you, I know that's far, very far from the current levels. Oh no, sorry, what nonsense am I saying? After all, this is from last week. Yes, here's an interesting retrospective, because those levels didn't attract, contrary to what I said a week ago, they didn't attract them, it didn't work. Like I said, it didn't work. Not only did it not work, it didn't attract, but it also didn't work as support. Well, a total failure of this approach, at least this week. Sometimes that's just how it is, that's what it's all about. Trading, and now for the next week. So, as far as support goes, it's pretty miserable. It's miserable. I can't imagine this working as support, nor should it attract any capital that would want to clear something out. On the other hand, the positions here are also small, 4,034. What's the price of Ethereum now? 4,900. Well, maybe it's hard to say. Here, on the other hand, there are some nice big liquidations at 4,240, but there's already a lot of competition for jumping into short positions here, and the supply curve is rising steeply. If they got there, I would definitely, if they reached 4,260, I would definitely try to jump into short positions there, but for that to work like a magnet. If that supply wall were smaller, maybe it would be like that, but with such a large supply, no one will risk pushing the market there, only to end up not being able to get out. So, not as a powerful magnet, but most definitely as a significant potential opportunity to take short positions indeed. And that's all for today's episode. See you next week.